I'm using this under the Fair Use Act, and this is Timothy Dixon's latest prophetic vision, whatever he wants to call it. But what's important here to note that is Timothy Dixon has made numerous prophecies that people in the White House, people in high positions in the White House would be dead at this point. All those prophecies have failed. Every one of Timothy Dixon's prophecies have failed. So I want to show you what his prophetic vision is about. And I had considered titling this many different things. One of the titles I had considered is Know Them by the Seeds They Plant. What Timothy Dixon is doing is planting a poisonous seed. So, the Bible teaches about, and I was going to do a whole video on that, and I still may, about knowing you don't have to wait to know them by their fruits, when you can know, if you truly have eyes that see and ears that hear, you can know them even before that. You can know them by the seeds they plant. And listen to the seed that Timothy Dixon is planting into his followers.
And in about 15 years, I remember later, it come in the news that someone had bought the house, moved in it, and the first night as they turned the lights out, they woke up the next day and there were snakes, water moccasins everywhere, all on their luggage, all over the place. Well, needless to say, it scared them to death. They moved out, didn't want the house no more, and they exterminated it. And the only way that they could get rid of all those snakes is they burnt the place down. And it I thought of that when I was into this and woke up. But the snakes were so infested everywhere that I began to walk down the halls through the Senate chamber, and I looked around a circle. You know how people sits in that chamber to hearing, and as I looked, the chairs. The majority of the Democrats and a lot of the Republicans, the same thing. They wasn't people sitting in them. They were snakes coiled up and just sitting there like that. And I looked and I noticed, and then there were some places, some seats, they had people. And
so what Timothy did here was, first he began, and I've only gave you a little bit of the video, he first began by planting a seed and telling a story about how some people had bought a house, and it turned out that the house was infested with snakes, and that they basically had to burn the house to the ground. That was the only way to resolve the problem, was to burn it to the ground and kill all of the snakes. So then he does an analogy immediately after that the White House and the Capitol and all those buildings is that same house, and that all the people inside of those houses are snakes. So what he's done in this video, and again, I've just given you the shortened form, and I've done a couple of clips in sequential order so that you can see the seed that he is planting in his followers. So he is basically inciting his followers to go and burn down the Capitol and try to kill all these leaders. And all this will do is the same thing that was accomplished on January the 6th, and also in recent days, the trucker convoy. This will only create more problems if he convinces one of his psychopathic followers to act on this behavior. But it gets much deeper. Let's continue to listen to the video, because he actually is planting that seed so that they can all stage an event and go to the Capitol and try to do these things again. Remember, their prophecies have all failed, so their prophetic ministries are weighing on the line. If their prophecies don't come to pass, and they're actually seeing that, they've come under great fire and have lost a lot of their followers, and their followers have come against them for their failed prophecies. So continue to listen.
And I asked one of the front row prophets, did y'all come to help? And he said, we sure have. We are waiting for them to open the doors, I heard someone call my name, whispering, Timothy, Timothy. I turned to look who was calling, and it was the men and women of God together made up the fivefold ministry. And I looked, and there was ministers that I knew. They were leaping over the walls, climbing through the underneath floors, coming through the roofs.
Leaping over walls, coming, just exactly the same thing that we everybody witnessed on January the 6th. Continue to listen.
And then I turned, and the people that was whispering my name, they were all under the floors like they was going after these snakes. And
going after the leaders.
Christmas was first. He said, Timothy Dixon, you know. So that's how he addresses me a lot of times. And I've seen Robin and Robin, Hank Dutch, Amanda, Mario, Lance. I mean, there was people, I knew all of different people I've come into contact with for some.
And I'm glad he made a point to name all those Trump prophets. He made a point to name, you know, Kent Christmas, Robin Bullock, Lance Walnew, Hank Kuhneman. He named all the failed, proven false prophets. But continue to listen. You know, they're staging what they're trying to incite. And this is exactly what Donald Trump and these other ones did on January the 6th. They incited terroristic behavior from their followers.
And they said that we have come here hunting snakes. Hallelujah. We have come here hunting snakes.
See how he thought that was so funny? We've come here to hunt the snakes. And his analogy was that all the leaders in Washington are the snakes. See that they're inciting their followers and inciting terroristic behaviors, which would only make matters worse. We saw that occur after January the 6th, and we saw that just recently occur with the Canadian truck drivers. It only made matters worse. They're doing the work of the enemy, and people don't even realize it. They're stirring up the waters, and people are just falling for this trap.
My horn shall blow from the four corners of that.
And that's important, too, for another video I'm going to do later. What he mentions about how his horn shall blow as it relates to the horns of the beast mentioned in Revelation. So understand this. This is clear. If you watch the whole video, it's clearly inciting terroristic behavior. And yet, and I've done a similar video on this, even though it's a clearly inciting terroristic behavior, they've not removed it from YouTube. And there's actually a place, if you go to the top of the right-hand top of the screen, you know, on his video, there's 3 dots and you can click, and it even has a part, you know, to report as terroristic behavior, terroristic threats. And even though that this is clearly and anybody can do that. They can go up to the top of the screen in that video and click on it and hit that button and find the little section, little part. It's easy to do. And click on the button that says encourages terroristic behavior or something to that nature. And it reports it to YouTube to have it removed. But YouTube itself should have already removed this video. And yet they haven't. And you have to ask yourself, why? And the reason is because they want this to happen. This is why Timothy Dixon and these false Trump prophets channels have not been removed, even though they're all inciting terroristic behaviors. They want this to happen. These false Trump prophets are doing the work of the enemy to stir up the waters, only to usher in more draconian measures and to demonize all Christians and paint all Christians as crazy and destroy the faith. This is the whole goal. This is why YouTube won't remove these false prophets, because they're doing the work of the enemy. Y'all be sure to recognize the people, once again, the Bible talks about, and I may do, a whole video about this. The Bible tells you you can recognize them by their fruits, but also note you don't even have to wait for that. You can recognize them by the seeds they are planting, and Timothy Dixon is planting, and all these false prophets are planting that seed. They're planting the seeds of hate and division and terroristic behaviors that'll only make matters worse and give the enemy so much more power and control and authority over Christians. God bless.